Well, here we are, new KLR 650, and out with the DRZ because I had to take the DRZ apart right down to the bearings, engine bearings, not once, but twice. And so the issue with the DRZ was I was driving to and from the hospital, as I did post my darling wife was diagnosed with cancer in February, and she's home now, but it's been quite a struggle. And I've taken on a bunch of other projects, including rebuilding our kitchen to make it clean and spacious and nice for her when she gets home. And just to keep my mind off of the seriousness of the situation. The prognosis is serious, and over the next 4 months to 2 years, there is going to be a regime of immunotherapy treatments, as surgery is not an option. And so, yeah, we've been focused on that. But the reason I haven't been creating content is because driving the DRZ to and from the hospital was the most fuel efficient option, and free parking and parking right in front of the front door, always there. But eventually there was a bearing noise, a grinding, and that grinding made me very nervous, and so I decided that I would replace all the bearings in the engine. And that whole process, which I have documented and I will post at some point, took a long time, so about 2 months. And I did actually took apart the entire engine and, according to the manual, put it back together, new bearings. The crankshaft bearing was shot, and so I didn't have the tools to take that apart, so I ordered a new crankshaft, piston rod, connecting rod, all the bearings, all the seals, all the gaskets, new clutch assembly, clutch plates. I put a Kickstarter in, and did I say new piston, new rings, everything. So the engine's really essentially brand new, rebuilt. When I put it back together, the one-way bearings on the on the starter, you know, there's a whole bunch of them. There's about 30 pieces. When I put it together, they fell on the ground, and I put them back together, and they're a lobe cam, and one of them was shaped like this. One of them was backwards, and so when I went to start it, after putting the engine back together, it almost seized on start. I drove around the block, and then it was making a noise, so I decided I would take it apart again. And took it apart a second time, noticed that there was heat damage on that one cam. And so when I was originally taking the engine apart, putting it back together, this fell apart. It's like a bracelet. Each one of these is an individual cam, and it needs to be installed the correct way. that way, you can see that there's little ridges here. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little ridge, and each one of these needs to be facing the right way as per the drawing. Now, when I just took this apart, and there was a hard start issue. It didn't like to crank over. It was fighting. Wasn't sure what it was. I'm pretty sure this was it. One of these, when they all fell out, I put them back. I was a bit hasty, and this one was backwards, and you can see it's discolored from the heat. And one of the edges is actually burnished. And so I just filed that down because you could actually feel a lip on it. So I think what was happening was when this, because this is a one-way situation, right? It can only spin one way from the starter drive through the cam to here. And with this one backwards, I think it was causing an impedance. So we'll see. Maybe I fix something. And took it all apart, put it back together, put the entire engine back together again, and went for a test drive for about 40 kilometers. And the bike ran great, you know, but when I stopped to check the oil, there was no oil, and there was oil all over the rear wheel, all over the engine, and I was fed up, and I didn't know where. I didn't have, you know, I live in a condo and I can't take my engine apart. There's oil and fluids dripping, and it was just a nightmare. And I had actually had the shop check the bike, and while I was there, I was looking in the showroom, and the KLR 650S was here, and it was listed for 9,000 Canadian. And my DRZ was 4,500 when I bought it. So I thought, why not just sell the bike and get a new one? And this one looked, so then I saw the Adventure version, which is this one, Adventure ABS. And although I didn't know it had ABS. And so I decided to pull the trigger because I need a reliable bike. I need a bike that can get me over the highway to the trails, and I'm not a single track guy. I used to race downhill mountain bikes. I can do that stuff, but you know, I don't want to break stuff, and I just enjoy riding. You know, the online forums are either totally for or against the 650, and you know, if I had my way, I would have a Africa Twin. You know, go all out, get the Africa Twin. But this was the happy medium, and I mean, look how friggin' G.I. Joe-ish this is. This is the U.S. Marines, you know, homage, because they had the KLR diesel when it was deployed. So anyways, I've been driving it. Well, I've had a lot of other stuff to do, but I like it. It's simple. So I'll just go over the couple things that I have done so far. Modified the default factory settings. I've actually got risers coming. I installed a riser kit for the handlebars today. The one thing is that these are very tight, and that's making me nervous. So I just noticed that when I was driving. It doesn't really affect when the wheels turn, but when it's turned that way, it's actually not good. So the other thing is I installed an ABS switch. If you see here, there is an ABS switch which is wired in to the battery and the factory spade connector. I have ordered Tusk racks because I'm taking my Tusk panniers off my other bike. These ones are plastic. You know, they're good for around town. Putting a jacket in, they're actually kind of nice to flip up, and you know, they are what they are. They're basic. I have a flush drain plug coming, pegs, crash guards for the front, and bush guards. I will be rewiring the light switch because the high beam switch is here, which I don't like reaching across to switch on, because I think they put it on this side so that you can, I don't know, there's a high beam switch here, this little guy, and I don't know why they wouldn't have just added another switch right here. Who knows? I don't know. Anyways, I think I might be shutting down my YouTube channel and starting up a new one, because I want to include my wife in this, and the incognito mode, if you can believe it, is absolutely a nightmare to film. I can't film in public, you know, if I keep up the guise. So this might be one of the last videos from Canadian Tech Prep, because right now the focus is on my wife, and she's awesome, and you guys need to meet her. Guys, girls, I'd like you girls and guys to meet her. I'm gonna stop using guys. Everyone uses guys, you know, and it's not because I'm woke. It's just an overused term. So anyways, that's me. Maintain those perimeters.